How's it going, everyone? Welcome back. The Reds 2-6, and it didn't take long. When you go 35 scoreless, it's time that the rumblings start. The fans start to talk a little bit about that manager. And boy, it didn't. 8 games is crazy though. 8 games is a little crazy. Terry Francona already catching some heat. And I get it. You got a team full of young studs. You think the pitching has been elite. They just can't score any runs. And here's the thing. As far as I'm concerned with Terry Francona, I do think we got to pump the brakes. We got to see. It's easy to overreaction early season. Unfortunately, this has become the Reds. It'd be nice if they start the season hot, but it has become the Reds, apparently. No matter who the manager is over the last 4, 5, 6 years, well, they just start the season slow. But this is what's important to me. If you look back from a year-over-year perspective, they're currently ranked 15th in fielding percentage. That's compared to 27th last season. They're currently ranked 5th in ERA compared to 18th last season. They're currently ranked 23rd in batting average. That is compared to 26th last season. This is as of Friday night. That's an improvement across the board in all 3 phases of the game. Now, I think we have to remember things weren't just going to change overnight. To see a slight improvement, though, that is good. If you can continue to see that slight improvement into April, into May, into June, you get this team believing, you get this team playing better. That's fantastic. And I know we can say, hey, how are you going to throw stats at me with 8 games into the season? That's a very small sample size to be judging this team. Oh, you mean like saying this was a terrible hire in Francona 8 games into the season. It goes both ways here. And, in that small sample size, there has been an improvement. I think you look at this and you say, hey, wow, actually, if there is something you want, it is a small market team to have a top 5 pitching staff. They're in a beautiful position. There is a lot to like about a 2-6 baseball team when they are a top 5 pitching staff. A lot to like. Because that's what you need. If you're the Cincinnati Reds, you're not going to spend, until they put a salary cap in baseball, you're not going to compete with the Dodgers, the Mets, the Yankees. You cannot go pound for pound with those teams from an offensive perspective. It's just not possible. They can buy every all-star in the league. This is what happens. You want to beat them, you beat them with dominant shutdown defense, you beat them with dominant shutdown pitching, and then you just come in here and have your bats kind of grind across a few runs. And I think that's where the Reds are right now, where you say, hey, if they can maintain this pitching staff, this ability, if they can stay healthy, the bats will figure it out. They'll get hot, they'll get cold. That's going to happen. If they can get hot as long as the pitching staff stays consistent, they can get hot and go win 10 of 12, 13 of 15 quickly. Again, that is if they can stay, incoherent. And the difference in a great team and a 500 team is your bats get hot while the pitching's cold. Your pitching gets hot while the bats get cold, right? Even a bad team. Where your good teams, you might go through your slumps, but you're still consistently good across the board. And that's what you wonder with this Reds team. We're too early in the season to know one way or the other. I tell you what, though, to have 3 1-0 games. A lot to like about that on one side of the baseball. When your team's demoralized playing like it is and your pitching staff's still lighting teams out, even the one game wasn't for the air. The dominant pitching. Again, bats will eventually figure out you have to believe. Even now, you look, I think it started. What's crazy, we're looking at Francona. I'm looking at Ellie. This is your franchise. This is your future. This is the guy who's back you need to lean on. Came into the season smoking hot. Reds scored, 14 to 190 at the 7 RBIs. There hasn't been nothing since. There's been a lot of 1-run games where Ellie has come to the plate late into the game. Runners on base. Scoring position. He's getting out. Your studs, your all-stars, your MVPs of your team come through clutch in those moments. If he comes through clutch in those moments, it's 2-1. It's 1-1. Reds could steal 1. Reds could steal 2. And again, Ellie is going to figure it out. And I think that's what's important about these bats. There's going to come a point in time where they're going to be absolutely terrified every time Ellie comes to the plate. They're going to do anything they can to get that guy up before him and get him out. Right? That's going to happen. Right now, it's kind of sluggish. But just to put it in perspective, if Ellie comes to the plate and mashes 2 home runs over the fence in those clutch situations and those 1-run games, the Reds are 4-4. If other players manage to come through clutch in those situations, you could say the Reds are 5-3. They're just a few clutch hits away because the pitching has been that good. And that is important to recognize here, is when this team can get their confidence going. And that does reflect on a manager. Getting the team's confidence going, getting the momentum going. That reflects on a manager, absolutely. I think it's a big part of being a manager in baseball. But when they get that going, all of a sudden these close games, these tight, low-scoring games, they're going to win a lot of them. I don't know what it is about Milwaukee, by the way. It don't matter who the manager is, apparently. It's like the Reds see a ghost when they see play the Brewers. Again, hopefully. It was like the Cardinals back in the day. Hopefully that starts to change. Little at a time. That was kind of what was tough here. You had the Rangers series, you didn't score the runs, but then you play the Brewers, and that wasn't going to get you out of the funk. Because if they win the last 2 games against Milwaukee, that's a lot of momentum against a team they have historically struggled against recently. To build that confidence. If you leave Milwaukee 4-6, feel pretty good about things, even at 4-6. We'll see though. I think we got to be patient with Tito here. We got to be patient with these bats. We got to give them a chance to figure things out. What I'm not patient with is training staff. We got to figure out what is wrong with this training staff. Players should not be getting hurt this often. What is this team not doing where all these young guys keep going to get hurt? That scares me. That's my number one concern right now, is keeping these guys healthy, because you gotta keep them healthy to get the consistency. You gotta keep them healthy to win baseball. You can't just keep cycling and do backups. Boy, I don't know what the answer to that one is, but that one's got to be concerned. Nonetheless, love y'all's thoughts. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.